What do you think it means to be a Canadian?
I was born in Canada, so I'm Canadian.
To be Canadian means you like that double, eh?
What does it mean to be Canadian? Easy.
To be Canadian is to visit Tim Hortons every day.
You gotta have a pet beaver.
To be Canadian, you must live in igloos.
To live in Canada.
Being a Canadian means eating a lot of poutine.
Canada is awesome because we are accepting of everybody.
Terry Fox.
We have maple syrup scented, what are they called? Bills. Yeah, and a hot prime minister.
America's neighbor.
To be Canadian is to brush shoulders with people from countries that you might not even know their language.
Being Canadian means saying Z instead of Z.
Is it too late now to say sorry?
It means that it's going to be cold every day. And if it's not cold, it's going to be raining.
I like maple syrup.
To be Canadian means that you can take the cold like a man.
Why do you think that Canada is made of multicultural people?
Well, first of all, because lots of people immigrated to Canada. It was a land of opportunity for them.
Canada is a gorgeous country. From jewel-like cities by the sea to towering mountain ranges and frozen realms in the north. Before Confederation, Canada was mainly divided into two parts. Upper Canada, which was mainly ruled by the British, and Lower Canada, which was mainly ruled by the French. After that, Canada confederated in 1867. There were various reasons for this, such as the idea of autonomy, the will to expand, the construction of railways, and the abolishment of the Reciprocity Treaty. Most importantly, fear of the Americans invading and the Fenians.
We must convince the Maritimes or there will be no confederation.
Aye, George. Today, civil war grips America. How long before they look to our borders again?
Separated, the colonies are isolated and weak.
But united. Just imagine. To the east, the Atlantic provinces, then Upper and Lower Canada, across the prairies to the Rockies and beyond. A new country made one by a railway from sea to sea. Gentlemen, the time for union is now. I ask you to take the dare.
The Charlottetown Conference set Confederation in motion. On July 1st, 1867, Sir John A. Macdonald became Canada's first Prime Minister.
In order for the different regions to come together and join Confederation to become the Dominion of Canada, they had to go through a not-so-pleasant past. Cruelty, racism, and marginalization was Canada's identity. Before Confederation, the First Nations made up most of the population of Canada. They had their unique culture, religion, and languages. However, everything changed when the Europeans first settled into Canada. Not only did they bring diseases such as smallpox, but they also assimilated Aboriginal children through residential schools.
Johnny wanted to go back home. It was 1,000 kilometers away. They forced him to go to the Indian residential school. More than 150,000 of us children had to go. They wanted to change us.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name.
Hallowed be your name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done.
Thy will be done. Kill the Indian and the child. It's been called cultural genocide. I survived residential school. My brother Johnny did not.
Chani Wenjack was one of thousands of children who died due to Canada's residential school system. More than 80,000 survivors and their families still live with its legacy today.
They were not treated as the Indigenous people they expected to be. Instead, they were treated as burdens for the Europeans. Another example of Canada's dark past involves the Chinese immigrants. In the 1900s, many Chinese immigrants went to Canada in hopes for a better life. Yet when they arrived, they had to pay a head tax of $500, which at that time could give you 2 houses. Consequently, the Exclusion Act was passed on July 1st, 1923, banning all and only Chinese immigrants from entering Canada. Looking back at this was an extreme act of racism against the Chinese.
Although it has suffered through racist legislations and policies in the past, Canada proves to have a bright present. The Exclusion Act was repealed in 1947, and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which guaranteed the basic rights of each Canadian citizen, was signed by Pierre Trudeau in 1982.
We now have a charter which defines the kind of country in which we wish to live and guarantees the basic rights and freedoms which each of us shall enjoy as a citizen of Canada. It reinforces the protection offered to French-speaking Canadians outside Quebec and to English-speaking Canadians in Quebec. It recognizes our multicultural character. It upholds the equality of women and the rights of disabled persons.
The mobility and equality rights in the Charter serves as an important step towards multiculturalism in Canada, as it allows any Canadian citizen to enter, live, study, or work in Canada regardless of their race, religion, national or ethnic origin, sex, age, and mental or physical ability. With this right, nearly 1 million Indigenous people rub shoulders with immigrants from all around the world. Immigration is currently at a 75-year high, with newcomers accounting nearly 2/3 of Canada's population growth. Though many Canadians want their country to become a melting pot like the US, a unified culture into which newcomers must assimilate, Canada is still working on providing equal rights to every citizen in Canada. Furthermore, multiculturalism in Canada is also shown through the Bilingual Act of 1969, signed by Pierre Trudeau. This is a form of Canada trying to heal the relationship between the French and the English in the past, as the country is now officially bilingual. In addition, peace is also a Canadian identity. Canada is famous for being polite and peaceful. Unlike its neighbor, the US, Canada bans the ownership of guns and maintains a friendly relationship between the other countries in the United Nations.
So it all goes back to the initial question. What does it mean to be a Canadian? To be a Canadian means that you say sorry at least 5 times a day, that you've been playing hockey since you were 8, and that you know how to draw a maple leaf blindfolded.
To be a Canadian means that you can enjoy free healthcare, that you share borders with the US, and that you live in a beautiful and safe country.
To be a Canadian also means that you may have a dark past, but you are now living in a country of equality and multiculturalism, and that you are a family